Our top story this hour, the Justice Department has released a brand new batch of documents from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, days after the deadline passed for the administration to make all the files related to Epstein publicly available. Like the previous release, this set of documents is heavily redacted. Some of them are, with some pages containing basically nothing visible at all. I'm joined now by Haley Robeson, a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse. Hi, Haley, thanks for being here with us. I know it's been a while since you've done an interview. This is your first since the release of these documents. And I'm wondering, after the document release on Friday, we know many survivors combed the files for mentions of their names and cases. I'm wondering what you did when this latest batch dropped last night and what that felt like.
Well, to be quite honest with you, I have yet to sit down and deep dive into all the documents. It's very overwhelming and obviously heavily redacted, unfortunately. Um, I feel I'm not surprised and I'm not shocked. Anybody who has been paying enough attention um, and who has been following this knows the government, the FBI, on a state level and on a federal level have been playing these games and doing these tactics. And look, at the end of the day, if President Donald Trump wanted to release these files, he did not need a bill to go through the Senate to do so. He had the power to do it. The fact that he is not condemning the DOJ publicly and saying, hey guys, I signed this bill, this is law, you need to abide, send it all. Stop with the tactics.
I actually want to get your response to what President Trump said. He was asked about Epstein last night when he was announcing this new class of battleships for the Navy. Here's what he said.
What this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. A lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin the reputation of somebody.
What do you think about what he said?
Okay, so not to play devil's advocate, this has nothing to do with politics. Point blank, I understand where he's coming from because I was targeted by Jeffrey Epstein and his terrible attorneys that did smear campaigns on some of the Florida girls when we first came out back in 2008, 2009. And I will say, yes, I think that we need to use discernment when all these files are coming out because we're not getting the full context. And with matters such as this being sensitive, context matters. So I do understand, let's not be quick to throw people under the bus just because they're standing next to him in a photo. However, it goes back to the way that you have acted, the way that you have treated this matter, which is a very sensitive matter, the way you have treated the victims and the survivors. You never invited us to the Capitol. You signed the bill, which you had no intention of fully being transparent. So I'm not quite sure why you even signed it besides, for theatrics. We all know that your name are in the files. The girls talk to each other. It is a community. So, this is something you're not going to escape from. It's better to just rip the Band-Aid off. If you're telling the public and the world and the survivors that just because somebody's in a picture with him doesn't automatically mean they were involved in the crimes against children, which I understand, and I get that fully, then why are you so scared to release the files and why has there been so much resistance? If it's just a picture, why are you going above and beyond to hide the identities of these men? And I do believe because of all the shame and guilt the survivors have gone through and the public scrutiny and the backlash that we've received and the shame and embarrassment that doesn't even belong to us. It belongs to the men that continue to have business and personal relationships with a known pedophile and his accomplice.
So
the embarrassment and shame belongs to them, Trump included.
And we should note, Trump has not been accused of criminal wrongdoing, but as you said, he is named in these files. There are pictures, and there is now this jailhouse letter that just came out that was sent from a J. Epstein to Larry Nassar, and this letter appears to include a reference to President Trump. It says, "Dear LN," the letter reads, "as you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they'd reach their full potential. our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls. What do you
That is a
make of it?
confession.
What do
That
you
is a
mean?
confession. That is him with his friends admitting without openly discussing details on the kinds of girls, let's not say women, they're girls, that they are attracted to, and they're gloating about it without being fully transparent and detailing it. And it's disgusting. I can read between the lines. I'm traumatized. I'm not stupid.
What do you think? And again, hasn't been accused of wrongdoing, and context really matters. And DOJ says some of these things are salacious and there's no truth behind it. That's the statement it just released. But what do you think about the mention of Trump in that letter and what it said?
I think it's very apparent in that specific letter that was just publicized from the.
And we want to continue our conversation now with Haley Robeson, a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse. I had mentioned the Justice Department statement in our last segment, but I want to read it verbatim. It says some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they have a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. What do you think? Does DOJ have a point there?
No, I think their point is moot. And the reason why is because everybody keeps making this political. And what we as the American people and what the public needs to understand, this is not about Trump. This is not about Jeffrey Epstein. This is about a larger network of perpetrators and predators that were sexually abusing, exploiting, and trafficking young girls, children, and young women. And at the end of the day, it's not just about one perpetrator, because as we're connecting the dots, we're finding, through the community of survivors, that there's a lot more to this that needs to be unpacked. And of course, as a community of survivors, we all talk to each other. We share our experiences with each other. We lean on each other. We support each other. And we've all heard things. And at the end of the day, there are a lot of missing documents thus far, and a lot of unnecessarily redacted documents that have been coming out. And it's really disappointing. And the DOJ is very, very sloppy.
And it sounds like you don't trust the redactions thus far.
I don't trust my government. I don't trust the redactions. I don't trust the DOJ. I don't trust this administration. I think there may be 3 people in Congress I trust with my life, and I think that's about it.
And that would who be Ro Khanna, Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor
And Marjorie
Greene?
Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before, and just given what you said, and before the break as well, you were criticizing this administration. There was a group of your fellow survivors and the family of Virginia Giuffre who released a statement yesterday criticizing the administration's handling of the release of the files, but your name was not among them, and I'm just wondering if there was a reason for that.
Oh boy. I like to take space. When I'm overwhelmed and when I'm going through a lot of emotional, just feeling a lot of different emotional waves, something that the public and what I haven't spoken on is when I was at the Capitol the beginning of September, my father was diagnosed with cancer, glioblastoma. We were told we had 6 months to a year, and I buried him Thursday, the day before the files came out.
Oh, I'm so
So
sorry.
I had to listen, it's been a hard week for me. I had to take a step back. I had to prioritize my mental health. But at the end of the day, I'm always in spirit with the girls. I will always support these girls. I am very protective over these girls. And this is why I'm so ticked off about the DOJ and the sloppiness and just the redactions and then not redacting certain names. They're playing games with us. This is retribution for standing against the system.
Well, one of your fellow survivors on that note, who has chosen to identify herself only as Jane Doe, spoke exclusively with CNN, and she said that she was mortified to discover that her name was among the few pieces of information not blacked out in Friday's document release. What is your reaction to that?
I am beyond mortified. I don't even have the words, to be quite honest with you. But again, it goes back to I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. I went through this in Florida with the Florida girls. If you go back to, I think it was March 2022 or 2023, Brad Edwards, myself, Courtney Wild, and Jenna Lisa Jones, we did a press conference with Governor Ron DeSantis to release the files on a state level. And one of my questions in that press conference was, how are the redactions going to happen? Are the victims going to be protected? Are they going to be redacted? So the state level, we didn't really have a lot of issues. So for some reason, the DOJ can't, I don't know, get it together. They don't want to get it together, but I just want all the girls and survivors and victims to know, whether they've come public or not. I don't, just because you're anonymous or you want to stay anonymous, you still have a community of women that are here for you to help you get through the publicity, to help you get through whatever it is that you're enduring, and that we're here for support and to lean on. And I know a lot of us, Jenna Lisa Jones has been my rock through all of this. I'm so blessed to call her a sister. And she loves to read, and she gets in those documents and she just goes through them like a book in a day. And if there's any victims or survivors who want to reach out and need help, please feel free, reach out to me. I'm on social media, contact the attorneys, they can reach out. We'll all help each other get through these files.
Well, I'm really glad that you all have each other, and I imagine these files coming out, while several survivors wanted this transparency, it also probably opens up some old wounds. Haley Robeson, you've also, as you noted, been going through a lot. I'm so sorry to hear about the loss of your dad. That's really tough, but we appreciate you coming on to lend your voice to this conversation. Thank you, and happy holidays. We'll be right back.
Thank you, you too.